Hmm. So, welcome all once again. I think some of you are here for the first time, some are veterans, and like me, I don't know if somebody else can beat me with this in terms of my attendance. But good, welcome all of you. So, lovely to see all of you coaches, youngster coaches, always young at heart coaches. So, I am Sunil Satyendra. I come to coaching with possibly just 3 years of experience as a uh, credentialed, certified, whatever coach for the last 2 years ish. Coaching is for me like I found what I wanted to find through coaching, and coaching rather found me out and got into my life. And I have a very different view process or a view space in terms of what was my journey into coaching. I was 30 years old 3 years back. Now I'm 33. That's when it hit me that I don't want to stay in the corporate sector. I had enough with that. I jumped out, not knowing what to do. It's only the last 7 days of my corporate career that coaching somehow found me. I paid my fees to Navgati for my ACC, not knowing what the hell coaching is all about. So I'd been told coaching is great. You'll get a three certificate at the end of 3 months that you've completed your training. Use that when you transition to HR. That was the only thing I knew. And enter coaching first day 8. So Navgati has this 8 hours into 8 hours of this thing, structure and schedule. So first 8 hours, I got to know that whatever I had as an intention towards coaching is not what it is. I thought mentoring was what I was doing, and mentoring was coaching in my book. And first day, all that is broken, and I'm like, oh, what the hell have I done? The second day, second this thing, a week later, the 8 hours of practicals that was there, I knew I had found my path in life, and rather it had found me through different means as such, and that is my entry into coaching. And the first 3 months went in a blur. The first 3 months of our coach training, the last day, which was 56th hour to 64th hour, by then I'd already finished my 100 hours of coaching practice. Only later to realize that three more months of stuff I need to wait to apply for my ACC because my mentoring was not done, and mentoring mandatorily needs 3 months of work. So that was why my coaching credentialing took time. So 3 more months of time, and then I started or applied in February. By the time my exam came was in May. But looking at what I was doing, one person asked me to say, "Why don't you try PCC? Because if you want to stay in coaching, PCC is a great additional tool to have, or additional competency and a skill level to sort of unlock." So mid of March, I said yes to coaching full time. And until then, for the previous 6 months, I was trying to figure out a job that could marry both whatever I was doing with coaching. My previous experience of being in corporate as a technical guy who moved into HR or moving into HR. So that is my entry into this, which for a lot of people here in the call may not resonate because you are coming into coaching at a slightly later time in your career. You've had 20, 25, 15, 12, number of years of experience in the corporate sector, been in HR, been in leadership, been in so many of these places. I don't think I had any of that, which became an advantage, and which is what I'm going to be talking about in some parts today, is to how to use your own strength and your own journey to make a difference and make an impact in places. So 1 year in, I completely decided with the first 1 year, I'm not going to charge my clients what ACCs or what PCCs will charge. So in 1 year, I had finished my 365, in 365 days, I had finished my 550 hours. And I had just said yes to PCC in a year. In that 1 year, I had experimented with coaching in three different languages, Hindi, to connect with audience who can, do talk Hindi, which is predominantly a larger section of India. To coach in Kannada, which is possibly my, my one of my most happiest of languages I coach in, which is my mother tongue, and essentially to go out of the so-called structures of coaching individuals who are coming from corporates. So school teachers, NGO leaders, IAS officers, or some of these people who come from the IPS, the KS, all those people who come in different cadres of life and different experiences of life, they may not be comfortable with English as a whole. And I have, because I'm a son of this soil, I always wanted to keep that as a language alongside with English. It takes me to the rest of the world. And hopefully, I'll somehow later learn German, Spanish, and Russian. So, which means that I can take over the coaching world completely. So that's plan. That's the plan. But hopefully, this. So these three things did come into picture. And I've been a writer for the last 15 years. I started to integrate how creativity and coaching can be married. I did bring up my own structure of how they can be integrated. Specifically and most amazingly, when the client is stuck, they don't know what they need to do. And you, as a coach, don't know what you need to ask. So, most amazing structures that work well. And yeah, so also in the same way, I sat in for almost around 200 hours of uh, other people's coaching. And, I was the triad, or sometimes I was the one getting coached, I was the one coaching prior to even finishing my PCC. So the last 1.5 years, if I have to look at a number, it's around 350 hours of mentoring experience that I have, wherein I have either sat down in sessions and given some feed forward, or completely been immersed in that, giving notes, making observations around coaching. And so I can now, to some confidence, say I know what I'm talking about when I do mentor people around coaching space. And which is relevant for today. All that I've told you is relevant for today in this session. The idea was to inspire some of you to look at what works for you rather than what worked for somebody else in a very different and a distinct situation. Uh, Setting up your business, the first thing you get asked, do you need a company to make it happen? Depending on the country you are, you may need a company, but it's not always a requirement that you already directly build a company, start your tax filing, GST or whatever, because we're in India. It may not be required for you to do it right away. The second bit, you may not need a website first. A website can be done very quickly. Within 7 to 10 days, a website can be up. Do not be bothered about your website for the first 6 to 8 months, even. Right? I'm going in a very different track. I'm telling you what not to do. Right. So, the most dangerous question that every coach asks, I think I'm tired of answering that whenever I meet new coaches, is what's your niche? I am possibly one of the ICF's only proudly nicheless coach because I am not bothered about what's the topic that the other person is coming from. Um, I am your coach. That's what I tell people. And my company's name, or the entity's name that I work with, is called NimmaCoach, which essentially in my language basically means your coach. And that's always worked for me. And there's a story behind why NimmaCoach. Right. So Jyoti will tell you possibly a story of why grow with Jyoti. And everybody who brings their own company has their own story to it. And what sells to your audience is something very different. So we've been traditionally told by people in the industry that you need to sell your coaching services. Now I have come with a possible thought process that the more you try to sell, the more you are pushing people away. Can you look at drawing people into coaching? So if you have to walk away from one thing from today's conversation, is to possibly look at this thought process as to how you draw people into coaching. The first thing that I did as soon as I got into some decent rhythm of coaching, it was about a week and a half or 10 or 20, 20, 25 hours, was to create a blog on my Medium, on my LinkedIn, and my Blogspot that explains what coaching is. Right. So every person I met, I used to say, if they're on LinkedIn, I used to send a LinkedIn post. If they are on Blogspot, yes. If they're not anywhere else, Blogspot. If they're on Medium, fantastic, put it on Medium. All three places. The blog explains coaching in the layman's term. Now, very clearly, my distinction was I don't want to work with corporates as my first entry point. I have continued to have a limiting belief with myself that because I have black hair, I don't have white hair or no hair, I will not get into corporates. It's a legacy belief that I'm battling, but that's me, and I think some of you will have different beliefs that you're battling when you get into coaching, and different people, different beliefs, right? So you will have to go through with that, which is important for us. Again, in another fact, I'll come to that. So I was with Nish, then and sort of somehow jumped. I don't know where I went. So anyone can care to remind me where I was?
You did not want to start with corporate.
Exactly. Fantastic. Thank you. Good. Active listening. Point scored. You get your CC 5.4 something. Huh? So, point, yeah, don't bother about your CCs until you finish 80, 90 hours. Uh, so, apparently, until my PCC entry, which is March of 2023, and I started August 2022, right? I didn't know the existence of ICF markers. I was told competencies are there. There are 8 competencies. Previously, it was 11. Now we made it 8. Essentially, it is the same. That give run through entire history of what it is all about. But I didn't know markers, and I passed my ACC and then got into PCC at that point. That's when I was introduced to a concept. There's something called markers, and people mark it. So you can, without knowing your markers, you can be an excellent coach. Don't worry about it, right? So, and the second bit is, yeah. So corporates is not my agenda. So for me, it was very important that because I am Nimma coach, my clientele is individual Indians or individual people. So now the truth is, dollars pay better than INR because $1 is possibly 90. 1 pound is possibly 100 rupees. 1 Australian dollar is possibly 50. Now the engineer in me said, "Oh, if I need to make this in this number of in this year, how many clients do I need to get, or how much do I need to look at?" Saying, "Hey, if I need 20 clients a year, what is the amount of money that I'll be making per person?" And then I had to cater it whether it will work for me in my audience. So I'm working with people who are individuals, who are possibly teachers, who are bank employees, who are work at home moms, people on a break. Can they pay $100, $200, $250 per hour? Right? I am not going to be having business if I do that. My first client, I know I charged 50 rupees, 100 rupees, which was exactly $1 plus change, right? $1, 20 cents dollar. So, and I was shivering asking that person money because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Is it worth my fund? 10 sessions later, I had put my pricing to 250 and jumped from $1 something into $3 something. And the biggest thing I learned is none of the other established coaches, either for not wanting to be transparent or not wanting my hawk eye on how much they're making, not telling the tax department about it, did not tell me what they were charging. They only gave a range, and none of the ranges were in any way near to what I was charging. Only when I did my completed my PCC, I got to understand sometimes depending on your seniority, depending on whatever number of years, whatever corporate experience, coaching from a framework starts from 500 rupees an hour to around 25,000 an hour, right? And there is more bandwidth to it. There are people I know who charge 1 lakh per hour as well. But for the clear strategy is, if I am a starting out coach, can I charge that much? So it started from 100, went to 250, then another 20, 25 sessions later, I was at 500, then 1,000, then 1,200, 1,500, 1,700, 2.5, 5, 8. So now I charge anywhere between 5 to 15. That's the range that I work with. And again, these are ranges that can change. This is for an individual. Corporate, obviously, I will pump it up. I will change my pricing for a corporate. Right. So this is something that I understood, that you have to work with an audience that works with you, and look at what your audience can pay for something. Secondly, it's not only about payment. Your languaging has to be that can you invest in yourself? The word can you pay for coaching to can you invest in yourself via coaching is two very different, distinct NLP conversations. Can you invest in yourself for this one becomes a very big difference in the way it lands. So use NLP to work with your clients. Now, my clients have no clue what coaching is before they understand what coaching is. And I am a normal person, everyday person coach, right? That's my branding. And I've used that branding in all of my social media for a very, very long time. It paid me to have almost 4,500 followers on LinkedIn when I started. I only chose LinkedIn. I said I will not do dancing reels. I will not do get ready with me reels on LinkedIn on Instagram to get my client. My client is not on Instagram. My client is on LinkedIn. I will concentrate on where my clients are. A clear strategy in terms of where your clients are and what you are willing to do and what you are happy doing, right? So I was very clear. I don't want to do reels. I don't want to get into Instagram, and I don't want to do certain structures. I am not a coach that will preach about from the choir. I will get down on the field and actually start working. My first 60, 70 hours of coaching, I was not charging much at that point of time. I told people that come to me for 5 sessions. Give me 1 hour each, 1 hour in a week. And I sent that blog that I had made to them saying, hey, this is how I started. This is what it is. These are one or two testimonials that I have. And the deal with some of my friends was an honest testimonial for 5 sessions that they work with me. And they don't need to pay me in terms of monetary payment. Get me a coffee that will tick mark the payment from ICF. You get, you don't have to charge me anything, or I don't have to charge you in terms of money for you. Get me a coffee, we're done. Right? Some of them got me a coffee, some of them got me a book. So vice versa. Some bartering happened. So that it became paid coaching. Right. So that way it was not always a monetary gain. So when you're young in your coaching world, it is always pays to get something better at some point of time and look for long run outputs. Now, why I'll tell you this now, 150%, in terms of this, I haven't spent a single rupee on my marketing. I don't have a website. I don't have a niche. I am possibly the youngest in coaching. So I invested 5 lakhs in my coaching. Easily, I made at least two and a half times that in the last 2 years of being, wow, 1 year, 8 months of being hardcore into saying, hey, I am now going to make profit from this, or I'm going to make money, a business from this. Coaching as a skill, coaching as a business, again, two different entities. So right now, build on your coaching space and get yourself a good mentor. The faster you get it, the better it is. And for me, what worked was the first 500 hours was like I used it as a rough notebook to scribble the hell out of what coaching is and what it is not. I made my own notes, what worked for me, what did not work for me. So anybody who is coming to 100, 500 or 2500 is your playground to become a better coach. You will never get that opportunity again after you got credential, because there's an expectation, there's a responsibility to that. Prior to that, it's your playground. Play with language, play with metaphors, play with, XYZ into this. Play with a niche, play with multiple niches, play with multiple target audiences, right? Play with whatever that works for you. One of the strongest mistakes that people do is that they confine their coaching to a particular niche only, saying that I have had great experience transformationally through XYZ as a this thing. that means I can only resonate to that and nothing else. There could be 100 other things that you can resonate to, which you've not even explored, right? So, what also worked for me is that I am your guy next door. I have very clear understanding of that, right? So, very clear understanding of guy next door. And because of my work prior, because I had mentored around 1,000 people in my organization, I know how to talk to people 4 or 5 years younger than me. I know how to talk to people 8 to 10 years younger than me. And I know how to talk to people my age, my peers. I know how to talk to people 10 plus years above my age group and possibly 20 years above my age group. So for me, it was very easy to say, hey, this is the story I will tell this person. This is the story I will tell this person. This is the story I'll tell this person. And after about 100, 150 hours, I had success stories to look at. Now, I would say XYZ from this industry has been a part of my coaching. And they came with some topic that needed some XYZ. I don't want to go into details. And through our conversations, they were able to unlock this. Right? I have a 3 or 4 favorite stories to tell. And I know which one will hit which of them. And in terms of getting my hours and getting my experience, I said to my friends, come experience coaching. And when I got to a decent enough stage with my coaching skill set, working with them, I had approximately 10 or 20 allies in my network who had experienced coaching, who knew me from before, who trust me blindly. So when I say, hey, come with me to coaching, and they had seen the impact of what coaching did for them. One of the friends was cooking his dinner at 3 a.m. in the night. He was afraid his neighbor will do a 911 call that something is happening on the neighbor's house. His delta was first 1 month he was at least able to bring it back to 10 p.m. in the night, and somehow now he's got to resonant frequency of 12 p.m. or midnight this thing, no longer 3 o'clock. So for an individual, this is something huge, right? Another story that I have is of somebody who wanted to move from US back to India, and she came to me and said, Sunil, this is what it is. I don't know the rest. The other person who the first story that I told you, he referred me to that person. And she said, this person has referred me to you. I have seen him transform directly. I don't need anything that you need to tell me. I am in, send me the link, send me the place. I am sending it to your PayPal. Close. So whenever I take another example, I take these two as a compound example. And from that one person, I got 4 or 5 references. Yeah, 4 or 5 references. Three of them got converted. So in a business, it's always a game of conversions. You will hear more no's than you'll say, you will hear yeses. You will hear more of I don't know to say yes. And one client came to me and she didn't convert to the extent that I wanted it to convert, or the potential that it had for conversion. Right. So the client came to me saying, I'm watching your LinkedIn for a year and a half. I want you to be my coach. No selling. The selling has already been done. Can you build the story of your successful campaigns like this? Jyoti, I'll just come back. I'll finish this statement. I'll come back. Right. So, and after a point of time, those people who I had given zero monetary coaching, there was some barter, so it was technically paid, became one of my strongest supporters even when I was not in the room. They said, Sunil is a coach. We trust this fellow. He will not advise. He will not do this. So they'd already sold half of my work to them. I trust this person to deliver what he says he'll deliver, which is to provide a safe space, which is to ask you questions, which is to say, give you a reflective space to talk about what you want rather than what he wants you to do. Trust this fellow, go for it. And I've always told people the first session is always on the house. I don't charge for the first one, which means the invitation is far easier. I'm happy to experiment. I also know whether this client is somebody I can work with or this client is somebody I don't want to work with. Easier for them to explain what is coaching, training, mentoring, therapy, consulting, all that completely done. And then in that session, sometimes if it's a very short call, 15 minutes call, we explain all of this. So longer format, 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour and 1.5 hour call. Give them a small demo of what coaching is. And then one of the things that has is not your marketing. This thing is not something marketing pundits will tell you. I don't do follow up. They will come. I have the strongest trust that if they've had outputs, if they felt a tinge of inspiration, they will always come. I don't want them to come to me because I push them hard for it. So yeah, this is some of the things that has worked for me. Jyoti, I'll just check with you. Can I take a question now, or do you want me to take a question a little later?
No, no,
Which
it's okay.
another?
It's okay. You carry on.
Yeah. So another 10 minutes of my monologue, and then I'll open it for questions. Right. So yeah. So the concept is simple. Can you pull people into your structure rather than can you push people into yours? I have been, I've received the strongest levels of complaint from MCC saying, Sunil, you're offering coaching at a dirt free pricing, which is pro bono every 3 months for something or the other, and which is not good for you as a brand. Said, oh, fantastic. I see it from a very different perspective because every time I offer a pro bono coaching initiative, it is pro bono for people who've not done pro bono before or not done coaching with me before. I ask those people who've done pro bono with me to say, can you put it to your network because you've taken a benefit from it? They gladly do it, and they come with personal recommendation from whoever has taken my coaching. That means I am not somebody who they look at as a stranger. So my strength is I can talk to anybody, right? So always helps. The other bit is my peer coaching helped me a lot. By 500 hours, I had been in touch with not always done peer coaching, but I had been in touch with approximately 300 coaches. They came from every damn possibility of niche. So one was a lawyer, one was a posh consultant, one was an HR, one was a mother of two who was in a career break, one was taking retirement, one was a VP. And what helped was I did my ACC in organization one, I did my PCC in organization two, and then I went to be part of two of the ICF chapters, Chennai and Bangalore, and many other WhatsApp groups. And some of the times people thought I was the admin because I was one of the most active people on the group. I paid zero to enter the group. I paid zero to stay in the group. And I understood that the only way to build that space is to be active. And I had all the time in my world to be active. So posters upon posters of what coaching is, what coaching is not. I think uh, I've had at least 200 to 300 iterations of what I can use as posters for making people become aware of coaching. And I always talk to people in the language of them, which is I tell people that coaching is basically like a jigsaw puzzle slash treasure hunt you're solving, and every other coaching session is going to be one of those solve the clue kind of a thing. You will have to move from point A to point B. I'm not going to be helping you move that, or I'm not going to be pushing you to move. I'm not your school teacher, so it's not homework that you need to do it for making it happen. And at the end of this is where you will find your treasure at the end of whatever number of sessions. So only after a lot of trial and error, I have understood that I offer people a package of 4 sessions. And I say, if you finish first, you don't have to pay me for the rest of the sessions. Or you can come as a subscriber model. Say you paid for it. That means until you finish that number of sessions, the same pricing applies for you. There's some legends who've given me money upfront when I was a ACC coach, and they still have 4 or 5 sessions left, and they're like, "We'll use it when you get to MCC," right? So there are people who've done that. Another story that is very very interesting and inspiring to share at the same time is I knew that I was investing money in coaching, and my PCC to around 75% was crowdfunded. So I asked my friends who had taken up my free coaching to say, uh, At least around, I had plans around 30 people, each giving me 5,000 each. So I get my 1.5 lakhs as the one I'll put. I'd hardcore bargained with the training organization saying, hey, really need it. I was without a job for about 9 months at that point of time. And I said, this is what I want to do. I'm madly passionate about this. Can you build on something? So they gave their best offer. And I reached out to 20 or 30 of my hardcore network. And I said, can you give me 5,000? Three of them gave me 30,000 each. And I was 90% halfway through whatever was the requirement. And when they need support, I said, lifetime free for you. You will never have to pay any money for me to get coached because you've done something for me when I needed it the most. Right. So this is how I preached from ACC to PCC. And and somewhere along this entire stretch, I discovered mentor coaching, which has been my entry point to making other coaches better coaches, which became something that I'm really good at. And approximately 36 coaches in the last 20 months have been mentored by me. Some of them not necessarily for renewal, but for more. So why I talk about this was this came from a place of strength that this is what is my strength. I'm going to use my strength to build my purpose. And now I have a series of approximately 6 to 7 different business verticals that give me small but clear outputs each month. It's been built over 3 years, right? It comes from 30 years of life experience, 8 years of experience as an engineer. So I am using all the strengths that I have and all my experience that I have, bringing it to coaching and setting up the coaching business. So this has been my journey in making it happen. And the only thing that I really, really want you to leave out of this session is technically to look at it saying, can I pull people into coaching rather than to say, can I ask people to be coached? So here your LinkedIn branding, presencing, all that becomes a part of the equation, right? So one of the grand ideas that we had, which I think is still open, is to start with 4 to 10 Saturdays for the next 3 months, wherein we will sit with 10 of you as a part of a cohort to say, how will you start your business from scratch? And I said, we'll look at a very small minimal amount of around 8,000, which is $100 for the entire 10 months to say, hey, let's build on something like this. Because what I realize is that coaching, if it has to survive the onslaught of self-made, self-proclaimed coaches, has to have a cohort or a conglomerate of damn good trained coaches, certified coaches, who are working together rather than working in silos. If you're doing business in silos, all of us will suffer. So at the end of maybe another 3 years, I want to get to a place where the cohort runs on its own, and tribe of coaches is something that's a prelude to that. Where I know these guys who are with me for over year and a half. They've been mentored by me or any of us in here. So I know that their skills is in a way that I don't have to worry about their skills. Their persona is something that I trust already, and they can be presented to a large number of people and saying, hey, you know what, these are damn good coaches. You are missing out if you're not getting coached by them, and you are missing out if you're not experiencing coaching in life at all. The longest run there is, but possibly one of those places where you have the highest outputs. It's a long run game. Coaching is not a short term game. If you're working and then doing coaching, continue to work and continue to put corpus that at least will give you 3 years of backup. Do not jump without 3 years of backup. Three could be five, depends on your way of life. Do not jump with 3 years of backup, below 3 years of backup. Because the world in the training industry is simply to make you taste the bandwidth of coaching. And only when you have skills that you're confident of, can you start pricing it out there in front of an audience. Price it high, they come, they pay, they are unhappy with your services. That's doomsday 101 already. Because you're derailed even before you've started. Do not look at money in the first 100, 200, 300 hours in terms of the bandwidth of money that you're making out of coaching. Very, very surely you will get back your returns in a year, year and a half if you're consistent at what you're doing. Right. So all of the marketing myths do not work for me. I know very clearly. If it works for you, follow it. Don't follow because I said don't follow whatever the marketing trend is. Follow what works for you. Right. Figure out what works for you. Standard output, second standard output is that from this session. Figure out what works for you. In fact, get a coach, not an ICF coach or a business coach, or even if you have an ICF coach, I coach coaches for a living, so you can always come back to me, right? So just there, never leave an opportunity to convert somebody for business. Always be on the lookout for where can you pull somebody to experience what you are as a coach, right? And then yeah, take it up from wherever you are and build on your strengths. So for you, it's like forts are built from the first layer, then basically they expand to another layer, and they expand to another layer. So you're building your kingdom in a space where you're trying to expand territories slowly but steadily. And in all of those cases, one is you're expanding your fort, two, you're expanding your army. If your skill set is not getting upgraded with your expansion, very early on, you will get to a space where you'll plateau at that point. And be passionate about coaching. If you're not passionate about coaching, if you're only in it for the money, there are millions of ways where you can make money. Do not look after money in the first few places. Right? I am not asking you to do it pro bono, but do not look at $200, $300, $100, $50 right away as soon as you start. If you're already having that kind of clientele, go for it. Nobody's stopping you. But get to a place where you are confident about yourself to say, hey, I am good at this. This is what is going to be my place. And over a period of time, your niche becomes figure outable. And you finish with that, right? So I hope these are good, decent outputs to baby steps to possibly some more baby plus plus steps. And all MCCs at every time I meet them tell that we are also learning. So learning never ends. And oh yeah, do not hunt for hundreds of certifications, hundreds of assessment, hundreds of debriefing. Again, look at what works for you. So as much as coaching is to be done by you, getting coached is also equally part of the equation. Supervision, mentoring, and getting coached around some of your business conversations are three other point three of the 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 of the outputs from today's class, which I really want you to look at. Or experiment right, left, center, like I did. I did not really have a formal mentor, but I had approximately three or four informal mentors in my journey. And yeah, so hopefully MCC is on the card soon. And when MCC is on the cards, I'll come back to you and say, you know what, fund my MCC and you will get coached for free for the rest of your life. So jump on board whenever that happens. Right. So that's, I think, what I had to share for today in terms of, topics, conversations, and stuff. Uh, yeah. So, yeah, I think there's some question also in the chat. I forgot. Uh, yeah. So I'll answer Pooja's first. We'll then go to maybe Jyoti and then come to Aniket because that's the order I see it. How will you increase charges if you charge small in the beginning and people don't feel comfortable? And how much do you charge suddenly? So I think for me, the answer is I come from that lens where I say, uh, what is my answer to that is because I've upgraded my skill as a coach. So you experience it. So whatever I was taking for 4 sessions, I take it for 2 sessions. For you, the impact is just the same. So that's the kind of thing that you get to say that this is not necessarily what everybody will charge, blah 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 stuff. It is just that for me this is what works, and this is where I say I am respecting the coaching that I am giving, And I have a standard rule that I will not charge what I am not ready to pay. I am only going to charge what I am ready to pay, and that's my choice, right? So I keep it at that. And because I'm getting better at my skill set, in the same whatever number of hours that we do, the amount of output that you are going to give to the client is going to be fantastic, right? And I know that when you come to that session with that vibe, it's a different ballgame altogether. You don't need to sell, and people will get attracted to you because the entire world is selling. This mad melon is not selling. Why is he not selling? That will what will get you in. And there are other structures, I guess. It's another possible masterclass for that, as to how you can be yourself. You don't need to sell yourself, but still make a damn good LinkedIn presence or a damn good social presence. Um, hmm. Yeah. So Jenna has a very interesting question. How do you balance the online coaching market while also loving on the local community at a mostly pro bono level? Because of my other six verticals. So I train kids in terms of writing, creative writing. I sell my books, and I consult on people's LinkedIn storytelling. I work with coaches to build their coaching branding. I mentor coach. I coach individuals. I mentor individuals, as in the hardcore mentoring. And then I consult with NGOs on fundraising. And I train university colleges or university students around networking, social media presence, branding. I also can do workshops for people, and this I think conveys the bandwidth of whatever I do. So to a large extent, I play the long game through coaching, and because I have these structures set in place, I don't have to worry about how much am I making per month, and it's not big. But because I am doing it in so many ways, it's almost akin to planting a garden rather than monoculture. So at every point in the day, every point in the game, there's something that's giving me money. And over a period of time, it will compound. And that's the thing that I'm, pushing for and gunning for. Like compound it, because that's something that nothing can beat compounding. Yes. Jana, I think I hope I have answered to some relatable degree to your question. If not, you can also ask at a later point of time. I'll move to Jyoti and then to Aniket. Yes. Jyoti, you had something, you're on mute for now. Okay, we'll come back later. Yeah. Aniket, you had something to ask? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, Jyoti, go
yeah.
ahead.
I Okay, is Jyoti going?
Mm.
No, you go ahead,
Yes,
Aniket.
okay. No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, alphabetical order.
So A, Aniket?
Aniket, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, A for
So I
Aniket.
had
Yeah.
three things to say. One is a question, one is an observation, and one is a compliment. I'll start with the compliment.
Mm.
So I just want to applaud you for taking for going against the norm. I think you refuted a lot of things that uh, business coaches or coaches who help people in branding in business talk about these days, or even in general as a branding or marketing norm, because I come from that industry. So I'm saying, but I really appreciate that and acknowledge it, and to some extent also get inspired by some of it. So I wanted to applaud that.
Thank you.
Gutsy move. Second, the observation that I wanted to make was, Sunil, that you are very active in the coaching space, in the sense that not with the end consumer, but also coaching coaches about or mentoring coaches about coaching. So I think that in itself also builds a lot of credibility about you around coaching. And not all coaches who pass out as ICF coaches can do that or want to do that. So I think that also is one pointer that I might consider, because that I see has played an instrumental role in your journey.
So
And the third one, which is actually a question, was if you were to, in one single statement, share what has worked for you as a business strategy to build your practice stroke business, what would it be?
play the long run game, right? So
Play the long game.
that's the answer to that.
Okay.
And yeah, I think because you asked only one sentence, I'll stop.
What was the answer? I didn't get you. I didn't hear the answer.
Play the long run game. Do not look at how much you're going to make now, because the next 2 years, 3 years, it'll be compounding.
Oh.
And I think credibility building also becomes a factor to it. So what I learned from my corporate is my first 3 years I was working my head off, and I was not getting my recognition.
Mm,
The next 4 years I was still working my head off, and I made sure I got my recognition.
mm,
There's a difference there. So I was strategically involved. I think have a strategy for your business, right? That's very, very important. And the strategy was play the long run. Strategy also was diversify in such a way that you make it a garden rather than monoculture, and you make it simple, know your target audience, and have patience. I think there's no other better answer to that than this: have patience.
mm,
Because I'll tell you a very strange example. 15 people who studied with me at my level one cohort,
mhm,
one has more than 25 hours of coaching experience. And only one, that is me, has passed out with at least ACC. So not
mm,
everybody who trains with you wants to be somebody who gets clients as coaches. And most of the time, they send me their friends, brothers, sisters, whoever they are not comfortable coaching, slash they don't want to coach, slash they feel I am a better coach to handle it my way. I've gotten fantastic referrals from peer coaches who said, hey, this is not what I handle. This is more up your alley. Or this is too close to my family, or this is too close to me emotionally. I don't think I'm going to be a good coach here. I've seen you coach. You are my first and only choice. Done. Invest in your coaching. And the invest word is in multiple structures. Uh, and I think once you focus, put your efforts into it, I think the universe will also start aligning. You get to meet people. And if you're an ICF member or an ICF global member and use the membership, oh, nothing like it, right? So somehow, thanks to God and thanks to all the universe energies, every year I take up that 18,000 or 20,000 membership. From that, I get myself an opportunity to host a session in the International Coaching Week, which happens in May. Me being mad, basically, first time I did one session, second time I did 13 sessions, the third time I did 21 sessions. Fourth time, I don't know what I'll do next year. But in that, on an average, I met 500 people, each of those places, um, and connected with approximately 250 on LinkedIn. Uh, yeah, so I was up at 5:30 in the morning, slept at 2 in the night also, kind of thing. One week I said, don't ask me to do anything else except this. And yeah, one or two conversions from my mentoring, coaching, or something or the other happen because of that. That means I get back my money that I've invested into that. And year on year, it compounds. So do something that compounds.
great. Thanks, Sunil.
And thanks to the compliment, I have it on record now. So people from marketing have approved my non-marketing service approach.
No, I align with a lot of things that you said, which, a lot of business coaches I hear, even in the ICF coaching week, there were a lot of people who were saying that this is how it should be done. But another observation that I want to make about others and about me as well is that we learn as we are progressing. So, from a space where I was told to post 3 to 4 times on LinkedIn just because the frequency itself will give you that kind of visibility. I just can't do it because it's not coming from my
Right,
being.
your heart.
It's just for the sake of writing something. I can't make viral posts and put them on. So a lot of evolution is also happening, as I'm moving, and I'm discarding a lot of things as much
Correct.
as like neti neti you do, in as
Yeah.
per Vedant. I do that. Not this, not this, not this, and then that's dovetailing into a strategy which I would think would be unique to my journey. Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, fantastic. I think it's a beautiful thing saying when you are a young kid, right? You will try to eat everything.
Mm,
After some point of time, you'll know this my body will reject, this I don't like because the taste is horrible, and this I will only eat if somebody cooks, or if this I will eat even if nobody is there. So you find out what works for you, you experiment, you figure out. That's how coaching is. Specifically, if you're making coaching your full time this thing, and I had no choice. I had to make coaching work. Otherwise, it was back to corporate, and for all hell breaking loose, I didn't want to get to corporate. So I had no choice, which makes it very easy for me to say, hey, I need to figure it out. But it's a figuring out thing completely. You figure it out, we'll see what works for you. And that's where you have patience. That's where you have a 3 year bandwidth to say, hey, I have enough money to experiment, figure out, run. And then if at the end of 3 years you've not figured it out, then you've had a bad strategy. Right. So that's how it is. And compound it, build on it, have patience, work with communities. I think you bought a beautiful space here. And TOC is as much as my baby, it is also your baby, right? So 237 people, 30, 40 have come and gone. It's not easy to build it in 2 years. So build on it. And I think what's helped me as much is my sense of humor has allowed me to connect with every audience there is, and I know what to tell as my story. And people are inspired by you rather than what you do. It's not your ACC, it's not your PCC, it's not your MCC that people are bothered about. Do I like you? Am I somebody you can trust? And the rest is easy. So, yeah, I think my monologue went for 1 hour. So, any other questions? Yeah, Dr. Lindsay, go ahead.
Sunil, at some point in time, you mentioned about NLP. So, did you
Mhm.
separately take a certification, or was it just reading up
No, 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 no.
and practice?
I didn't take any additional certification after my PCC, right? So, Navgati thankfully had introduced me to transactional analysis. Ujjwal ji in our cohort introduced me to TA, NLP, I think appreciative inquiry, quite a large list of topics, strength-based this thing. And one thing I remember talking to one of the experienced coaches who said, you should be very wary of so many of the opportunities that people will come and tell you that, you're like a kid in a candy shop. Every other 3 to 6 months, there's a new thing, a new buzzword in coaching coming. The more you are keeping yourself undistracted from, say, I want to learn new things, until then, I'm not going to be, this thing. I am not going to be able to call myself a coach until I've known everything in the whole damn world. I don't think I'm made of that material. So NLP, to a large extent, a lot of things are read, learned, understood, experienced. After some point in the game, NLP sort of mismatches with TA, TA sort of mismatches with IA. So, so many of these are like in some way Venn diagram circles, right? There's a lot of congruence between all of that. So you can always learn the concept. At the end of the day, it's the learning of the concept. And because with the ICF of life, you don't need to bring in assessment or a prescriptive mode of work. You are free to learn as much as possible and see what sticks to you as an individual and what sticks to possibly your audience as they're coming into it. So go with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Subrata is meant, I guess. Not bad about dollars, but energy and time. Yeah, see, energy and time. Jana, the answer to that is um, possibly, yeah. So I am like Einstein said with my girlfriend. So 100 hours is still 1 second, and that's the same thing when it comes to coaching. I love coaching. My 500 hours, the last month on a mission, I did 100 hours a month, 100 hours in 23 days. And I remember putting that question across to my mentor, Ujwalji from Kocharya, saying, I've already done my PCC exam. That was in October or November 2023. And they say within a year, if I complete, I don't have to write the exam again. Do you think I should do by 2,000 hours and do my MCC? The response was, you'll burn yourself out. It's not possible. So if I'd put my head to heart to that one, 2,000 hours would never have been a problem, even in a year. Because coaching and this space gives me energy rather than takes energy out of me. Physically, yeah, I think there were some days I was really daunted, but average it out, I easy right now with the amount of time that I put in, 6 to 8 hours of coaching, easy can be done. And that's my threshold. And I've discovered that threshold based on different discoveries. I can push 8 to 10 on like good days, but 6 to 8 is a decent average per day. Oh, and yeah, and maybe one thing I forgot was to answer one an unasked question is, I had a target, or generally do have a target, saying, hey, this is the amount of money I need to make per month via coaching. And initially, even that was there, saying if I'm looking at say 100 rupees that I need to get from one of those weeks, I've always looked at getting 10 people to pay me 10 rupees each, rather than two people to pay me 50 and one people to pay me 100. I've always erred on the side of volume rather than the err on the side of only one giving me high reward. So my this thing are low ticket, high volume rather than high ticket, low volume. That's me. But you could be the other way around. Look, again, come back to figuring it out. Hmm. Yes. All right. So I
Sunil,
think I
I
made
have
my
a
case.
question.
Yes, Sindhu, go ahead.
Yeah. So from ACC to PCC, how has that made a difference in your
Oh,
coaching?
big time. Big time. I think ACC, I think one of my standard dialogues is missed, right? So I call myself an Ekalavya in coaching. So for Janai, Ekalavya is a character from Hindu mythology slash history slash tradition, where he learns in the forest how to do archery. With just keeping one of the other people as his idol and mentor, he learns on his own, and that's the way the story goes. So I've been to a certain extent mentored and trained and given some directions, but I've gone back to my forest, figured out, experimented, and sort of worked. ACC to PCC was I understood the bandwidth of my own strengths in terms of what I bring to coaching, and especially the discovery of metaphors. I was like, I'm game here. Right, for 15 years of writing poetry, metaphors became a thing, and then all the others got integrated into that. And what it gave me the space was who of the client to what of the client, what are the situation. Once that was done, it was a separate ballgame altogether. It made me trust my coaching instincts and my coaching abilities way more. And because I saw the difference I was making with an ACC approach, it took me, average it out. The same point would have taken me 3.5 to 4 sessions. PCC, it took me 40-50 minutes. So my clients were very happy that they had to pay me less. So that prompted me to push my charges. Right. So that's how that is. Right. So I think yeah, just before I go to Jyoti, and Jyoti, possibly the last question because I have a hard stop at 8:15.
Oh my
Um,
God, this is it. I've been waiting so long. You said alphabetical order,
yeah,
this, that. You've
correct.
taken
Yeah.
everyone. Does J even come in the alphabetical order? Look at
Then
this. Oh my God, you're
Then
taking
I
me.
came in
I'm
the
the most
alphabetical
regular
order.
person here,
Yes. That's why we came
but
to
you're
you
taking
last.
like
No,
exactly.
everybody else has completely been answered. Then we come
Yeah,
to
I would have
Jyoti.
called you a person and asked you answers to
Yeah.
all my questions then.
Anyways, so for those, Sindhu, Dr. Lindsay, and I think somebody else was also there. So if you're not part of the tribe of coaches, ping me on WhatsApp. I'll add you. I think both of you ping me. I'll just add you. So we continue to grow.
Join us.
And
Sometimes we
yeah,
happen to have a lot of fun also.
lot of
By
fun. Yeah, a
fluke.
lot of fun.
By fluke.
Sometimes at somebody's expense, sometimes at my expense. So it happens. It's a lively, fun, banterish group, which I
Yeah, it's
don't
more like
have
a
to
family.
polish too much. Yeah, only a few times.
There's
No.
nothing serious about coaching out here.
Yeah, it's always about people. That's it. And Jyoti, back to you.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. See, Sunil, whatever, I mean, I'm really impressed with your story and I've heard it before also. But having said that, I think you're one of those real lucky ones. You've
Mm.
been lucky also. You have to admit that. There's someone who just goes into and gives his ACC exams. I've seen people, intelligent people, funking it like, 5 times, 6 times on the ACC, PCC. You just walked through and came out around, say, with in less the time allotted also. That's the way
Yeah.
you told me about it. So you have had a little comparatively smooth ride.
Mm.
Okay. Now, so I really cannot relate. Like, I can also talk to anybody. You've seen that. You've known me for quite some time. I can talk to anybody, and I think I'm rather authentic. Whenever I speak like I show a very authentic self, and I choose to do that. Even while coaching, I'm very authentic. And then I've also done all the like I've created a brand of my own. Like now you also know that Grow with Youth. People anywhere I go, they remember Grow with Youth. That's like personal branding perfectly done. I post on LinkedIn also. I post on other social media, but that's a little bit less. But LinkedIn, I'm consistent there. For the last 2 years, 1.5 years, I've shown absolute consistency, not one day also gone. So, in spite of doing all this, and I've joined the BNI and I've done NLP masters for this, website you bana liya, all those things done. And I've become a public speaker. I'm making money out of public speaking. I'm making money out of giving LinkedIn classes, out of giving personal branding classes. But I've not made a single penny out of coaching. So I'm thinking I'll become everything else, all the paraphernalia that's required around coaching. I'll become all that but coaching. What do I do?
Hmm.
And I think I'm a good coach. I feel I'm a good coach.
Hmm. So the answer would be to, I think, take coaching as something that you can use to find out what's missing, or what's the missing link. If you feel there's a missing link, if you feel there is no missing link, it's different people, different journeys, different timeline for threshold jumping, and it will happen. So either it's a game of patience that you need to play, or you need to look at
Almost two
saying, hey, where's
years.
that one place that's leaking? Right? You're doing all the right things, all the right tick boxes, but somewhere something is not the blind. It could be a blind spot possibility. So that's
When
where
are
I
you
say,
doing your OCS of
yeah.
are you
See,
conducting in the next OCS? Then I'll become the coachee.
yeah. So the next one is, I think, next week,
Next week.
next Monday.
Okay, then I'm the coachee. Then I'll find out
Go
the
to the
club.
client. So go to the
Hmm?
client. You are the coach of the client.
I'm the client. I don't
See,
want to coach pro bono anymore. And you were going to make me coach pro bono.
what I also want to just differentiate at this point, this thing is that nothing is pro bono, right? Nothing is free. So you're spending 1 hour of your time, you're looking at that as an experience, you're seeing if this works for you, not your, everything is data. What I'm trying to say is everything is data, it's data crunching at its best. If you're being asked to do pro bono by whatever is the set of audience, they're not your paid set of audience. They're not your customers. So I am very clear when I go to NGOs and say, I know you can't pay. Pay me what you can, but respect me and value me for my time. Right. So
That's what I
they
believe
come
in.
with
I
that
don't believe
space.
anything pro bono anymore.
So what I'm saying is there is nothing pro bono. If you do the whole karma theory, the whole bigger equation kind of a thing, there is nothing that's a free lunch. So when I do some of these coaching sessions and the client does not come back, uh, I tell myself that I'm either creating good karma for my next life or clearing old debts. That to be clear. So it's one of those ways I make peace with clientele's not coming. but you will have approximately a 90-95% rejection ratio, right?
Another problem
So
I have big time is, this what you said, self-proclaimed coaches. Like when I joined BNI,
all
I
of us are
found
battling that.
yeah. So how do we fight them out? Because in BNI there are already three coaches. When
You
you talk
don't.
about ICF, they don't know. When you talk to them about
You
competencies, they don't know. And then they're saying they're coaches.
Yeah, yeah. You don't fight them. You stay true to what you are, right? In a, I think Rahul Dravid was debuted in 1990s. 2025, Rahul Dravid is still known purely because Rahul Dravid stayed true to who he was. There have been, I think, 150 people who debuted and played and not done anything else significant after that. Rahul just did his work with complete dedication to the craft. Dedicate yourself to the craft will always pay you back 100, 2000, 10,000 times.
I'm doing that full
Right?
time. I'm a
Mm.
full-time coach. Okay,
And
so
there's
I
just
just
then
leave it
it's
to
a
hope
space of
of Rahul Dravid
patience.
becoming Rahul Dravid one day.
It's just about patience at some point of time, because you cooked it so well. When it takes off, it there's no stopping back. There's no holding back kind of a thing. Second, it could be that the devil's in the details. There's something that you're looking at as a blind spot. You may not know that, and others also may not know that it's a blind spot because they're not aware of their own blind spots
We also
themselves.
don't know.
So I'm happy to work with you on that.
Next week.
Uh,
So you'll remain quiet. When you're a coach, you remain quiet.
I am the quietest there is when I'm coaching.
Then how will I find my blind spot if I don't speak?
That will employ our coaching meets creativity hat. We have something for everything. So
Let's
good.
see.
I have to jump off. Thanks for your time today,
Okay.
and thanks
Wonderful session.
everybody. And so thanks Indu, thanks Dr. Lindsay for
You.
jumping in.
Thank
Thanks
you.
Palami, Pooja, Janai, Jyoti as always. See you. Ciao. Good night.
I'm Sunil's assistant, by the way.